So I gave my Smiths Everest one more chance. I wore it last night, and as you can tell, it stopped on me. Oh well. Hey guys, how you doing? I am back, and I'm back today with a review of the Steinhart and the Smiths Everest after wearing them for a month, roughly, a little bit over a month, a little bit over 2 months. I did this video yesterday, and the mic wasn't working properly, so I have to do the video again today. But it's a good thing because I got to see the video and I got to see what I was doing wrong when I did it, because I kind of like to do these in one take. Excuse me. So a lot of people were complaining that I talk too much, so I'm going to limit my time to roughly about 15 minutes, hopefully less than that. Let me put this over here, that way you guys can see the countdown, even though I'm going to zoom in on it a little bit later. So let's just get the mentions out of the way. We got the Steinhart itself. Let me zoom in on that. The Steinhart is 39 millimeters. There's the Ocean 1 vintage GMT 39 millimeters, and of course the Smiths Everest is 36 millimeters. Let me just go ahead and put them on here. That way you can kind of sort of see what's going on here. So we got 39 mils. Thickness, well, I guess with the little, domed sapphire, it is, I'm going to say 14.2, something like that, 14 and a half. And lug to lug is 20. And I'm sorry, this is 20, the bracelet. Yeah, well, I guess lug to lug is 20 on the inside. Lug to lug lengthwise is, I believe it's 47. 48, sorry, 40, wait. No, 47. So, and of course, the Smiths Everest is a 36er. There you go, 36. And thickness is 11, which is not bad at all. And we got 20 as well for the bracelet. And lug to lug it's got a little bit of an angle to it, so I'm gonna say 44 mils. So you'll notice one thing here that, well, you know what, let's do a wristwatch check first. So wristwatch check, I'm wearing my CWC automatic. This is the homage or the remake of the original CWC from the 1970s, the W10s or the 6BBs. W10s were the ground troops, 6BB were the guys in the air. Love this watch, 36 mil as well. And the only thing I don't like about this watch is that I have to wear it on a NATO. And NATOs are cool, but down here in Florida you sweat a lot, so I'm constantly taking it off and washing the NATO. It just becomes annoying. I can't put a bracelet on it because the spring bars are basically welded on there, so you can't move them. So it's always going to be NATO. I'll try to see if I can find a rubber strap for this one. But let's get to what we're talking about today, which is my Steinhart Ocean's 1 39 GMT, vintage GMT. Now, when I received this watch, I was pleasantly surprised by its looks. I wasn't really expecting it to like it as much as I did. One of the things that worried me was the loom has that antique patina to it, and they also did the loom on the bezel with also the antique patina. Now, at first, before I received the watch, I was like, I don't know, it might be a little too dark, but, I really love the Pepsi GMT, so let's go ahead and purchase one because I never had one. And I went ahead and did it, and one of the things I noticed was that since the lume is both on the bezel and on the dial, it kind of feels like they weren't trying to age it. It's just part of the design. So pleasantly surprised by that. Also, the one of the things that I don't like to really, wear flashy watches, and the Pepsis can be kind of flashy, the Rolex Pepsis. So I really like how the blue and the red on this watch is kind of faded out a little bit, so it doesn't really pop, if you will. It's subdued. It's classy looking. This watch came with the Oyster bracelet, which is actually on the Smiths GMT. The original bracelet that came on this watch was hideous, but let's just we'll stick to this one for right now. So I removed the Oyster, and I bought the Jubilee for this watch. And let me tell you, this Jubilee. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. It's a little dirty. Still got to get white gloves. The Jubilee, it's perfect for this watch. I don't see myself taking this Jubilee off this watch. Steinhart makes a really nice bracelet. It's very comfortable, and I'm going to say at the moment, this is my second favorite watch to wear in my collection. When I got it, I wore it for 3 weeks straight, and the only reason I took it off was because I ordered the the Smiths Everest. Now, the Smiths Everest is very interesting because, anybody who wants a 1016 will recognize the dial immediately, and the reality is, unless you have 13 to 20K, which the prices are sliding a little bit, which is kind of nice. Still don't have that type of money for it, though. The Smiths Everest it scratches that itch of the 1016, and it has scratched that itch for me. I got this watch. It came, like I mentioned earlier, it came with a bracelet that was just gigantic. From what I hear, time factors, they already switched the. Hold on a second. Let me get that fingerprint off there. They already switched the bracelet on it to a bracelet that's a little bit smaller, so it kind of fits this type of the 36 mil. And this watch, when I got it, I removed the Steinhart, and let me tell you, I wore it straight on for 3 weeks as well, and I was enjoying this watch so much. I took it to Costa Rica. I didn't wear anything but this watch. This watch really makes a great. If you need just one watch, this watch is fantastic. I have 7.5-inch wrist, and as you can tell, I enjoy wearing the 36. I really do. I also enjoy wearing the 39. One of the funny things that happened, though, is when I took off my my Steinhart and I put on the Smiths Everest, the Smiths Everest felt small. About 3 days later, I got so used to it and how comfortable the Smiths Everest was that I didn't want to take it off. But I ended up taking it off, and I'll tell you why I did. And I went back to the Steinhart, and the Steinhart just felt huge. It felt big. It felt heavy. And it took about another 3 days for me to get used to the Steinhart. I've been, on the side, I've been wearing of course, my G-Shock, which I love this watch. This watch is fantastic. I'm at 7 minutes, so I'm pretty good with time right now. Okay, so I was getting back to the fact that I removed the Steinhart because the Smiths came in, but I removed the Smiths because of something else. Now, I think I know what's going on with it. I believe that the second hand might be rubbing up against the minute hand somewhere. I don't know where it is. But let me go over the watch itself first and tell you what I don't like about the watch, or what I wish was different. Okay, the first thing, of course, like I mentioned earlier, is the second hand. If you notice the second hand, it has a really small, I guess, backside, if you want to call it, so it's very top heavy, and I think that's what's causing the problem. If you lay it flat, the top heavy second hand is going to rub up against the minute hand, and it stops it. And earlier in this video, I mentioned how the time difference. Well, I wore the the Smiths last night, and they were both synced to the second. And as you can tell, this is the correct time. And this is the Smiths Everest has stopped in the middle of the night, and I wear my watch to sleep. So my I'm constantly moving in my sleep. I'm a restless sleeper, if you will. So anyway, that was one of the things that I didn't like about the watch. The second thing I didn't like about the watch, well, that I wish it was different. Not that I don't like about it. I just wish it was different. It's the Smiths. The Smiths is kind of big. It should be a little bit smaller, a little bit more subdued, because this watch, you want to wear this watch with the suit. You want to wear this watch with the tuxedo. And Smiths out there, it's just a little too big. The Everest down here is fantastic. It only shows up when you hit the light right. So I do wish that they would have taken the Smiths logo and maybe by half, made it smaller by half. I think it would look nice. Also, Smiths needs to, I think he needs to work on some sort of little logo on top of it, just to like an S or something like that to put on top. I think it would look really nice, like the Steinhart did with their Steinhart logo. It looks like a little pineapple, but it's I'm not really wearing my good glass. Well, let me put it up close. Let's see. It's like a circle with a crown on top and the S in the middle. So I wish they would do that. Now the second thing that now bothers me, didn't bother me before, but now it does, is if you notice carefully, you'll see how the case has a curve to it. Now don't get me wrong, I don't mind the curve, but if you look at the 1016, the 1016 is actually straight. And what happens with the 1016, by the way, I got my hands on one, so I was able to study it. I wasn't able to bring it with me because nobody's going to give me the $20,000 watch to do a little review on it. But I managed to hold it in my hand and really study it. And what I noticed was that what's happening with the 1016 is actually a straight line from the end of the lug to the crown. But what they do when they mill, they kind of sort of mill up here, and it looks like it's curved. So now that I know that on the 1016, I wish they would have done the same with this watch. But knowing watch building, of course, on the Blanchard Watch Company, and I am building a watch, doing that sort of milling requires a 5-axis CNC machine. So it's much more expensive to do that type of milling. So I understand why it's done this way. If you notice this watch, I have been wearing it, it's all scratched up. But let's get down to the movements. Now, I'll be very honest with you, the movement in the GMT movement in the Steinhart is an ETA. It is absolutely fantastic movement. I'm going to tell you maybe 3 seconds, between 3 and 4 seconds per day. I mean, that's really good. I'm wondering if Steinhart actually regulates this watch before they sell it, because it is keeping time where I am very, very surprised with it. Now, the Smiths Everest, on the other way, has the Miyota 9015. Now, it's a workhorse, but I do have an issue with this movement. A lot of people do talk about that it's kind of loud. The rotor is loud. I haven't really heard it. But what does happen, which kind of took me a little bit to get used to, is, I would move my hand up and down, and then the watch would just wobble on my wrist. And I was like, that's kind of weird. So it would just wobble, and it does it all the time. I'm used to it now. It's no big deal. But, it doesn't do it on the ETA. The other thing is when you wind the ETA, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and stop the ETA. First off, it just pops out. Let's see. Come on. Boom. Pops out. And when you wind it, I don't know if you can hear that. It's buttery. Let me put it by the mic. It is so smooth. I love the action of this ETA. Now back and forth. There you go. The Miyota, on the other hand, sounds like there's sand in it. It's just, it is a workhorse and it'll get the job done. But I'll pull it out and let me put it next to the mic here so you can hear. See how much louder it is? It also it doesn't feel smooth like the ETA. So like I said when I first got the watch, you know, some people hate the Miyota, some people love the Miyota, some people are okay with Miyota. I'm okay with it. I mean, I really don't have any qualms with it. But the fact that this watch is stopping on me, it's kind of upsetting me a bit. I know it's not the Miyota. I know it's something going on with, here, let me move this up a little bit more. Something's going on. Let me zoom in. Something's going on with the second and a minute head touching each other. So I have a 1 year warranty on this watch. I can send it back to Time Factors in the UK and they can look at it, or I can send it to somebody down here to look at it. I think I'm just going to go ahead and send it to my watch guy. He'll probably be able to find what the issue is. And it's forced me to take it off and not wear it. And I really, really, really enjoy wearing this watch. What happened to me was a week ago. I'm already at 15 minutes. Let me finish the story really quick. A week ago, my wife called me up. She goes, "Why aren't you picking up the kids?" I go, "I got an hour." And then I noticed that my watch had stopped. So, that's unacceptable. So I took it off, and now I'm wearing my CWC, or I wore my G-Shock, or I wore my Steinhart, or I wore my Omega 300. So this guy, I gave it a second chance last night, and it stopped on me. So it's going to the watch guy. Once it's there, hopefully they'll be able to solve it, and I'll be able to get it back and wear it again. But it kind of, it left a bad taste in my mouth. So that's a review for. I've been wearing these watches for now coming on 2 months, and honestly, without the issue of it stopping, I wouldn't take this watch off. This watch is fantastic. To the point is, I understand why the 1016 costs so much money, because really you don't need any other watch. The 1016 takes care of it. The Rolex 1016. This watch is like that because it's an homage to it. And I highly recommend the purchase of this watch. Hopefully you don't get the little hand issue that I got. Now, as for the Steinhart, honestly, this watch is also, to me, perfect. I love this watch. The biggest difference to me that I wouldn't wear this watch all the time is because I wouldn't wear this watch with a suit or a tuxedo. This I'll wear with anything. This one, it's more of a sporty watch. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this update on these two watches, and sorry about the fingerprints again. Well, until the next watch.